Some witnesses stated Wilson fired at Mr. Brown as he chased after him, striking him. At least one witness saying he struck, or one of those shots struck Mr. Brown. Others stated that he did not fire until Mr. Brown turned and came back toward Officer Wilson. At least one witness stated that as Officer Wilson got out of his vehicle, he shot Mr. Brown multiple times as Mr. Brown stood next to the vehicle. Yet another witness stated that Officer Wilson stuck his gun out the window and fired at Mr. Brown as Mr. Brown was running.
Welcome back, folks. It's time for the Malzberg panel, and that just shows, people either are lying or they think they see things that just didn't happen. That last witness he referred to, that a witness said that he saw the officer shoot out the window before he got out of the car. That never happened. Senior partner at Adam Thompson law firm and syndicated talk show host Adam Thompson joins us, and commentator on religion, society, and pop culture, Rabbi Brad Hirschfield is here. Gentlemen, and let me start with you, Mr. Attorney, who could explain it all. I mean, justice was done yesterday, and again, I just can't wrap my head around the fact that the media has been an enabler to the so-called black leadership like Sharpton and Jackson, etc., that have turned this nothing more than a case of a thug robbing a store and beating up a cop and getting killed, which was a tragedy, of course, into some civil rights case.
It's pretty disgusting, Steve. You know, it's shocking to me that people do not have more respect for the process, the rule of law, and a grand jury's decision in this case. Listen, 12 grand jurors got together. They spent months pouring through all the evidence, listening to actual forensic evidence, reviewing autopsies, and listening to all different witness accounts. They got to cipher through all this and really determine what they believe to be fact from fiction. Once that's done, you got to respect what their ultimate decision is. And that's it. And the fact that people would riot and loot and burn down stores, how is that helping the Brown family get past the death of their son? How is that helping anyone except hurting people in the community who are employing other people in the community? It's just nonsensical to me. And the lack of leadership to speak out to prevent this is just deafening. And that's where we need to have the dialogue change.
And Rabbi, I mean, what does this say about our society, or the portion of society that goes around and loots first and then burns down the stores?
Look, we have a rage problem in this country, and this is one of those moments when an understanding has nothing to do with an excuse. There is no excuse. The very notion that people will hold the public peace hostage to the conclusion they want to see out of the justice system is the very definition of injustice. So what you have here is people who claim one kind of injustice and are combating with another kind of injustice. That said, we can't underestimate the kind of race-driven rage that is fueling this. And really what needs to happen I hope people listen to the clergy in that community, many of whom hold views that we might not agree with. It doesn't matter. They're standing up and saying, violence is not the answer. Violence is not the way to go. Do not listen to the rage mongers, and we know they're out there, and that's the inner discipline which people are going to have regardless of what they think about this decision, regardless of what they want to see happen in the future. You don't burn down stores, you don't torch cop cars, you don't threaten members of your own community. It's madness, and of course it's madness because it is fueled by rage, and people in rage do not typically make good decisions.
Well, yeah, I mean, and Adam, you know, we played a soundbite of Louis Head, the ex-con stepfather of Michael Brown, revving up right after the decision was made. He's hugging Michael Brown's mother, and then he says, you know, let's burn this place down, burn it down, burn it down. And I was talking to our previous guest about that. I mean, is that legally incitement? Is that, you know, prosecutable, if you will?
That's a very interesting question, Steve. And the fact that you had such a charged group of people following the announcement of this decision, and the fact that people could be swayed by certain comments that would be made, particularly by the parents of this dead youth, you know, it really, you know, gets to that question. Is that an action that leads to a criminal act because people responded, and I believe that store was turned down. But let me just say, boy, what a statement to make that you think there's some civil or social injustice by burning down little pizzas. I'm sure Al Sharpton's people will march and say no.
All right,
justice.
Adam, stay where you are. We're going to come back and continue with you and Brad. The Malzberg panel is coming back.
First and foremost, we are a nation built on the rule of law. And so we need to accept that this decision was the grand jury's to make. There are Americans who agree with it, and there are Americans who are deeply disappointed, even angry. It's an understandable reaction.
Okay, it's an understandable reaction that there are Americans who are angry. Rejoining us on the Malzberg panel is Adam Thompson and Rabbi Brad Hirschfield. Let me start with you, Brad. I don't know. I mean, once you say we have to accept the decision, once you see that, on the split screen, you see the fires and the rioting just about starting while he's talking, which is unfortunate for him. Why did he have to add the extra that it's, basically justifiable and understandable that people are angry if you're saying we have to accept the decision?
Right. I don't think he did, Steve. The truth is, I do think it's understandable, but this isn't the moment to say it, and not by the president. So that's the point. It's not always what you say, it's when you say it and who you are as a speaker. I get it. It's understandable. We have race issues in this country. I'm not naive. But when businesses are burning, when shots are being fired, as many as 150 rounds were fired last night, it's an unbelievable thing that no one wasn't killed. To suggest that that's the moment, standing in front of the seal of the United States, to say it's understandable, that's what I question. Is it understandable? Sure, but the job at this moment is not to simply understand it. It's to send the message that it's got to stop.
Right, and I don't know, to be fair, I don't know that at that exact moment we were aware of everything that had been going on. This was kind of in close proximity to the announcement, and maybe just as this was breaking out. But nonetheless, I agree with you. I don't think we needed the President of the United States to make this bigger than it is. Again, it just plays in, Adam, in my mind, to the narrative adopted by the media, the enablers of all of this, to make this into some huge civil rights case that now that an injustice has been done, I have to come out as President of the United States and tell you, calm down. When, again, in my mind, this was a case of a guy attacking a cop, punching a cop, pulling his gun, shooting the cop's gun, and charging at a cop again, who got killed, unfortunately, but I'm sure it happens a lot.
At the end of the day, timing is everything, as Brad said. What's important is you have to show leadership. And true leadership would have been a statement that's saying it's okay to be disappointed. It's even okay to be angry. I don't have a problem with that. He should have went a step further and said, but respect the rule of law. If you want to exercise your First Amendment rights, great. Assemble, march, protest, and even yell and scream in the streets you're upset and you're mad. But make it peaceful. When it transfers over to violence, it's wrong and it's criminal. And that has to be a clear message that cannot be tolerated or allowed. People get hurt, businesses destroyed. We have to send the message that's wrong.
Well, he also did. I just played one bite. That's not all he said, obviously. He did say that kind of thing. Message. And Brad, the mayor today of Ferguson, just as we came on the air, criticized the governor of Missouri and the National Guard, not the National Guard, but the governor not having the National Guard in place to protect the businesses. Now, I mean, how much do you think the governor, you'll never know, but you comment on things like this, obviously. How much do you think the governor was gun shy, if you will, because of the criticism that he got for having a militarized police force and bringing out the National Guard the last time?
Look, there's no question you're right, Steve. That had to have been at least, I'm not saying consciously, I'm not saying it was manipulative, I'm not saying it was purposeful, but you can't pillory someone in public and essentially accuse them of running a police state when they're trying to protect innocent people, and then the next time that's threatened when they're a little bit, as you said, gun shy about taking a similar move. So I think everyone needs to appreciate, be careful of what you say, not just because of the implications in the moment, but what it might lead to the next day or the next week.
Adam, final word.
You know, it's very disappointing how everything turned after the decision. I would hope that from all the previous cases like Trayvon Martin, O.J. Simpson, cases that we saw, that the public and society at large would grow after learning from those past cases and not repeat the same mistakes following the verdicts or decisions.
All right, good enough, Adam. We got to end it there. I wish both of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Give Me Five is next, folks. Don't go away.